The 63 Watson Roadster that Parnelli won the Indianapolis 500 in was really a car that was built in 1960.
Built in Glendale, California. That's where the hotbed of building race cars in those days. And A.J. Watson was the person that was building it.
It's a beautiful car, and you know, it's brings back a lot of memories. And you know, in Indianapolis, that car I ran 4 years at Indianapolis.
But the search continues, and the practice speeds grow faster. Parnelli Jones, last year's sensational rookie, tops 148, then 149, and in one magic moment, almost breaks the 150-mile-an-hour barrier. Leaping to the track from the pit wall, car owner J.C. Agajanian applauds his new threat to the track record.
My father really had a special relationship with Parnelli Jones. Parnelli was a great talent, a young talent, a natural talent. And in the old days, don't forget that the championship title was not only on pavement like Indianapolis, it was also on dirt.
Now each driver is on his own for 200 laps, 3.5 grinding, deafening hours. From his pole position, Parnelli Jones takes the lead. The field begins to string out with Parnelli widening the gap. Setting a sizzling pace, he roars on far ahead of the others.
My dad would contract with Watson and say, I want a new car this year to race in the Indy 500, and Watson would design probably 5 or 6 or 8, depending on how many orders he got, and they were all almost identical. In ours, we changed the front end a little bit, the body work, so it was more aerodynamic, and that came about from ideas that Parnelli had. It was nothing like today. Today, it's a black art. It's you have to be in the wind tunnel and all that.
He increases his lead going down the main straight, and he's way out in front at the beginning of the second lap. His pit crew signals he has a 6-second lead. His car owner, J.C. Agajanian, tense but happy.
To understand by stories that my dad has told about this kid he saw slopping around in the dirt, but winning. He said the other guys were spinning out, they were hitting the wall, they were tipping over, they were getting upside down, but Parnelli was able to adjust to the terrain. He was able to adjust to the weather, and he was winning. And he said that was really when I saw talent in him. And then, of course, he saw him running in person.
Where you take Parnelli, I mean, he was a man that could get in anything. Didn't make any difference. When he set in that thing, he made it go fast. You know, he was always, I had always admired Parnelli because of that. He was such a talented race car driver. He's just a guy that once he fastened that seatbelt, you were going to have a hard time outrunning him.
Lloyd Ruby drove the car in 1960, and then Parnelli drove in 61, 62, 63, and 64.
Was Rookie of the Year the first year in 61, led 27 laps, could have won the race if it hadn't lost a cylinder, and come back in 62, set on the pole, the first one to run 150 miles an hour around Indy.
Parnelli Jones believes records are made to be broken, and he qualifies at a new record speed of 150.370 miles per hour. His fantastic run showed all 4 laps in the 150-mile-an-hour bracket. He's the Indianapolis hero of the day, and the newspapers, anticipating his top qualifying speed, headline him as the man to beat. Then the green flag sends Parnelli on his way again, full speed ahead. He leads the others back into competition.
And dominated the race, was long gone, lost the brakes.
And it looks like Parnelli is in trouble. He's running without brakes and gliding down the pit apron. He can't stop. He bounces over wheels and tires in a frantic effort to slow down, then scrapes into the pit wall to stop. He's been running without brakes since the 76th lap.
Wound up coming in and not really planning on going out, but I wound up making 2 pit stops without any brakes or brains.
And Parnelli Jones finishes the race without a sign of brakes on the car. His crew going crazy trying to get him stopped.
What I love about that car is just how absolutely dangerous it was. You know, they call it the world's largest tuning fork because, you know, you think about what makes a car safe. It's the cars fall apart, and, you know, as they're crashing and you get the crumple zone effect, you get the pieces coming off, that diffuses the forces. Well, when you crashed in those cars, all the force transferred to the driver and pulverized their bones into dust. So it was a very dangerous car in that respect.
For one thing, I mean, you know, you work with what you have. I mean, tires, if you notice, the tires are getting wider and bigger and more downforce and stuff. We didn't have those things. You know, the tires were very thin, and, you know, the traction was there. You had to back off in the corner, and the guy that could drive it the deepest and get back in the throttle the best, and that's how you made those cars handle.
The form of the car was changed from the original Watson body configuration into a body that was very streamlined, much lower, had a much lower hood and cowl line, and it was one of the best looking roadsters ever built. And it was affectionately called Old Calhoun.
The pace car brings the field up to starting speed. Drivers maintain their positions, 3 cars to a row, 11 rows deep.
And we made that car better every year. I mean, it wasn't always the same when we came back. We upgraded things on it. In fact, one of the things that we did when we lost the brakes, for an example, the brake line was running along and cracked an exhaust header, and the heat from the then loosened up the tape that was holding the brake line. Just things like that, little things. A little bit of luck, I could have probably won 4 or 5 times, but you know, it takes not only a lot of skill and good equipment and good pit stops and good people around you, but it takes a little luck as well.
The pace car pulls off the track, and the green flag is out. Parnelli Jones leaps into the lead.
You get to see a nice example of what racing was like before they went, right before they went to rear engine.
Parnelli Jones pulls even with Jim Hurtubise on the back straightaway, passes him on the turns, and regains the lead in the second lap.
It makes you see where we come from, because you know, the Roadster certainly was a front engine car, and the tires were skinny and the drivers were fat.
The field begins to spread out, with Parnelli Jones steadily pulling away from the rest of the pack. Parnelli Jones is really charging. No one can stay with him.
Unlike other car owners that feel they have to coach, they have to tell, they have to have a game plan and explain, as far as I knew, Parnelli's plan was to stand on the gas. And if that meant being able to lap the field, so be it.
Then Parnelli Jones takes the white flag. 1 lap to go.
Parnelli's main objective was to blow them all off, and that included Mario and AJ and the Unsers, all of them. The pride of being able to beat your peers, not only to beat your peers, but to beat the best of your peers, ran deep in Parnelli, and nothing made him happier than to smoke those guys.
Parnelli Jones finishes the 500-mile ordeal in 3 hours and 29 minutes.
But I believe if somebody started to tell Parnelli what to do or how to do it, he'd simply say, "I'm going to gas it, boys, and get out of my way."
Victory and riches await Parnelli Jones, who has won the fastest Indianapolis 500-mile race ever run.
Came back in '63, sat on the pole again, new track record, won the race, and came back in '64 and qualified 4th, I think. Leading the race, was having a pickup problem toward the end, and I made a pit stop.
Making a scheduled pit stop for fuel.
If you look at the way it's designed, where it has the exhaust pipe going where you would fill the gas on the car, and they would put an asbestos sleeve over that exhaust pipe.
And his crew strains to get his tank filled and get him out. There's a man in a hurry. His fuel tank explodes.
Then my car caught on fire in the pits. They pulled the thing off.
Alcohol fumes on and in the car burn with an invisible flame. Parnelli scrambles out of the car and rolls on the ground.
The car is on fire and Parnelli is bailing out of the car in the pits. And it was because of that, because they went and they filled the gas and the fumes went into the hot exhaust and lit the car on fire.
So that ended that career of that car.
Overall, I believe too that car was the best looking roadster ever built. No question about it in my mind. And I'm glad that we were able to build a replica car that represented that that car so well. And if you had the two cars side by side, frankly, our car would look better.
Yeah, that's also a car I'm very, very fond of. With the car that I won in Indianapolis.
What is the design that produced this great winner? Was it his superb driving? Was it the engineering know-how that gave him that extra power and speed? Or was it the teamwork that rushed him through each pit stop in record time? Right now, Parnelli doesn't know, nor does the crowd. They only know they have found a new champion of speed.